We'll start periodic classification of elements, session 2. In the previous session, we understood that how were the elements classified gave by Dobener traits, Newland law of octaves and Dmitri-Mendeleev's periodic table. So based on Dmitri-Mendeleev's periodic table, there comes a modern periodic table. So all the flaws and the anomalies which were found in the Mendeleev's periodic table were rectified by in modern periodic table given by Henry Moseley. It's not only the Henry Moseley's contribution to modern periodic table. Henry Moseley designed the modern periodic table based on Mendeleev's with respect to the groups and rows, the groups and periods, but later it was edited and remodified by Niels Bohr. He gave the size of an atom with respect to how it is placed, which we have already studied in standard 9. So basically when you look for what I can say here, modern periodic table was given by Henry Moseley as well as Niels Bohr. But in some books when you see that modern periodic table was given by Niels Bohr, or in some books you find that by Henry Moseley. So you need not break your head, they will not ask you about this, but you only need to know the modified structure of the modern periodic table. You need not by heart this table, children. Again, you need to only know the elements from 1 to 20 atomic number as what we discussed last year as well, and even in this year's chapter, metals and non-metals. 1 to 20 elements, atomic number and the symbols should be known to you. Just let us have a look at this table here. See, according to him, according to the modern periodic table, so we have 18 groups. Right? So groups are like this. Group 1, group 2, group 3, and we have 7 periods, right, which are read like this. Right? Apart from that, you can also see some 2 things which are given. We'll discuss about that once we finish this. So we have 18 vertical groups and 7 horizontal, 18 vertical columns called as groups, 7 horizontal rows known as periods, right? The same thing here what Mendeleev had given. Now apart from that, elements are placed in this periodic table with respect to their atomic number. The properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic number. This is the basic definition of the modern periodic table. Now let's understand what elements are kept and what is it. Now you can see here there are some color combinations what I have given just to make you understand. So these color combination tells us that if you can see from this is the first group, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, right? Similarly we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 periods we have. The first group elements are what you can say here are called as alkali metals except hydrogen. Hydrogen is a non-metal. As I had told, that was the only one anomaly which we have still not found out a place for hydrogen in modern periodic table as well. The first group elements are called as alkali metals. The second group elements are called as alkali earth metals. Now what do you mean by alkali? Basically alkali is a water soluble base. We all know that, right? When we talk about alkali metals and alkali earth metals are more stronger than or more soluble than alkali earth metals. Both are alkali only, but we differentiate them in terms of alkali metals which are more stronger you can say, and alkali earth metals, we name them. Children will not ask you name so and so alkali. They can ask you name any 2 alkali metals, name any 2 alkali earth metals, and again it depends that it has to come within your range of 20 elements only. Remember this. Then after this we have group 1 and group 2, right? Group 3, 4, 5 up to group here, that is group 13. Group 12, sorry, group number 1 and 2, right? Then we have a column like this here, group number 3 to group number 12. Then again we have here 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 14, 15, 16, sorry, from 13 I had to start. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Group 3 to group 12, we do not study in your syllabus. We study from group 3 to group 12 in your higher classes, that is in 11th standard you will study that. Then comes group 13 to group 17, right? Then we have the last 18th group. These are noble gases or inert gases. So we'll discuss of each of the properties. This is how the groups are classified. Now when we talk about the periods here, now look here, there is again one more blue color line or something. These are poor metals. That means though they are metals, but they are poor conductors. Nothing to remember much in this table, children. Just I can say a brief introduction of the modern periodic table. Then, as I had told, group 1 and 2 we will study. Group 13 to 17 we will study. Group 3 to 12 you will study in your higher classes. Then you can see that there are some more elements which are placed in this manner, which are separated from the periodic table. That is not a part of a periodic table. There are 14 such elements here, right? So 14 elements here as well as 14 elements here, which are separated in the periodic table, but it is not a part of a periodic table. Now why it is not a part of a periodic table? Because now what is the rule, children, in the periodic table? Elements what you place in the group will have similar properties. Same as what Mendeleev had told. The same rule is followed here as well. If you are placing the elements in the group 1, it should have the same property. Of course, valencies, that does not change. It is the same. Group 2 if you place, it should have same. But here what happened, when you come to group 3, that is 57th atomic number, lanthanides, or you can say lanthanium is an element. Lanthanium element, when you come, after lanthanium, there were 14 such elements which had the same property of lanthanium, right? So what would happen? I would have placed 14 elements just below this. That time, I would have that time Moseley, what he would have done is he could have extended the periodic table only for the group 3, but that would not come in a proper order, right? It would go against the what chart or what things he has done. Similarly, the very next here in the group 3 only, 89, actinium. That element also, if you see, after actinium, there were 14 such elements which had the same property of the actinium. So now what to do? If I place after lanthanides 14 and after actinium 14, periodic table would only for the group 3 it would go along, right? It would not match with the other things. I would rather it would disturb the whole group. So what it was decided, so from lactanium and actinium, these things, these elements what are there, what similar elements which had more of horizontal similarity than the vertical similarity. I have vertical similarities in the group, right? But in La and Ca, these two elements, the similarity were horizontal because so many were there. So what we did is we placed them separately in the periodic table. We made them as a separate part of a periodic table, but they still belong to group 3, right? They belong to group 3. Can you tell me which period they belong? Let us see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It belongs to 6th period and it belongs to 7th period. This belongs to 6th period and this belongs to 7th period, but they both belong to the same group 3. Very clear on this? This is one thing what you have to know. Then, so we differentiate or we bifurcate these in terms of some blocks, say SPDF block. You again study about this SPDF block in 11th standard. If I have to explain, children, there are many things what you have to learn, but again I can tell you are only studying the basic part of this. So there are blocks, SPDF blocks. Based on how we configure them, how electronic configuration is done. So there are blocks. Now each group of elements belongs to some of these blocks. Then which element belongs to which block? Let us just understand that. And this is very important, what you have to know here. Now, I just write here, group 1 and 2 belongs to S block. Right? Then, what we have, group 3 to 12 belongs to D block. Group 13 to 18 belongs to P block. And last, what do we have? We have lanthanides and acetonides. We call them La and Ac. Lanthanides and acetonides, they belong to F block. Group D, anyhow you don't study this year. You study about group D, block D elements or block D elements in Q1, in your 11th standard. As well as lanthanides and acetonides, also you don't study for your 10th grade. You study about these two block elements in your 11th grade. You only study about S block and P block elements, okay? One more important thing what you have to know here is, group 3 to 12 are called as transition elements. And F block are called as inner transition. You need not know what is transition and inner transition. Just if you know the name, that's enough, children, here. Right? So these are the basic bifurcations in the group what we have. SPDF block what we say. So this is one important concept. There are such several few concepts. What you have to only know them, I will just state here. So if these things are very clear, we'll move on to the next one. Now, the next part what you have to understand here is, what are the group properties and what are the period properties? As we go down the group and across the period, what happens? But before that, let us learn some more things. Now, for example, when we talk about the every first element here, what are these elements called as? Now, I told you the first group element are called as alkali elements. Second group are called as alkali earth elements. Third to 12, third to 13, third to 12, leave it. We are not going to see that anything, right? So group 1, when I call, they are called as alkali. Group 2 are called as alkali earth elements. Now 3 to 12, we are not studying. So we will not discuss on that. 13th group element, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th and 18th. These are all about group I am talking about. Now when I talk about 13th group, the first element is boron, element is carbon, element is nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, here it is helium. 13th group is called as boron family. That means all the properties, it's a head of the family. So boron will decide its respective properties, what you can say. 14th is called as a carbon family. All belong to carbon family, come in 14th group. 15th is nitrogen group, nitrogen family. Oxygen family. Oxygen family is also known as Chalcogen family. Chalcogen family in the sense, in this group, all elements will form their respective O's, right? They can later it can form their oxide. They are found in the form of O's. Later it can form in the form of an oxide. So it is a Chalcogen family. Here it is a fluorine family. So it is also called as a halogen group. And not helium family. These are noble gases. They are like king. What does king do? King will not participate with everybody, right? He has his own rules and regulations. So all noble gases element are called as inert gases or zero elements. These are called as. Why? Because they do not take part in the chemical reaction. Now, which element will take part in the chemical reaction? Where they have the valencies. What do valency do? It has the capacity to combine. Valencies are the combining capacity of the electron. but these are already filled with electrons, so they don't have any space. So what will they do in chemical reaction? Because they do not accept nor they give electrons, but other elements over here, they have a tendency to accept as well as to donate, right? So all noble gases, inert gases, what we talk about, which was, see, Mendeleev had left a space, as I had discussed there. Eighth group was, last group was empty. He had only up to 8 part there, right? But last he had left empty. That are nothing but noble gases, because he knew there are noble gases which will be introduced further, and he had left space in the periodic table. So this is the whole family of the periodic table. Now, you have to know, you need not by heart the whole periodic table, but you have to know the atomic number right from hydrogen to calcium, that is 20. Till 1 to 20 elements, by heart you have to know the atomic numbers. I have been telling this from 9th standard, I have been telling this even in the chapter metals and non-metals. So, let's understand a few more concepts. What type of questions can arise from this? Suppose, randomly, if I told you that you need not remember the periodic table, right? That means you need not by heart or anything, only 20 elements. But if I ask you, can you tell me calcium belongs to which group and which period? That means how is it possible? You have to know either by heart it in some order or something, right? Not required. There is a trick or there is a method to understand where every element belongs to which period, which group and which block. And remember children, we deal with only S block and P block. We do not deal with B block and EF block, because you study that in your higher classes. And if you see that all S block elements and P block elements which we study are within 20 only. Beyond 20 also if you have, but you don't study them, right? So randomly let's take, now first is, I'll just show you first few. Hydrogen is 1, lithium is 3, sodium is 11, then any random element I can take up to 20. Let me take calcium only. Calcium is 20, then any other. There if I take silicon is 16, then aluminium is 13. Now anyhow I have just written up and down, that's okay. Any other element children? Okay, oxygen is 8. Now let me write the electronic configuration first for this. So 288 rule, what we write, correct? So let's write that. So this is written as only 1, because only 1 is there. Then we have lithium 3. So this is 2, 1. Then we have sodium 11. So we have 2, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then after sodium we have calcium 20. So this is 2, 8, 8 plus 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then we have sulfur 16. So this is 2, 8, 6. Then we have aluminium 13. So this is 2, 8, 3. I have oxygen 8, which is 2, 6. Okay. Now, first of all, let us identify to which group they belong. All we will identify to which group they belong. Okay. So I will just write here group. Then we will write here period. Then if we have space, wait, I will do some adjustment. We will write here okay. So group, period and block, which I wanted here. Similarly here group, period and block. Okay. Let's understand to which group and which this they belong. Before that, if you want, I will just write all 1 and 2 group elements belong to S block. Then what is P block? 13 to 18 belong to P block. We remember that. Just remember these two things. Now what do we have? Last valence electrons is only 1. Last shell, how many electrons are there? Only 1, right? Here last shell only 1 is there. Here last shell only 1 is there. Whatever is in the last shell, it belongs to that group. The This belongs to first group. First group. This belongs to first group. Check. Is it true? Hydrogen belongs to first group, sodium belongs to first group, lithium belongs to first group. Yes, that means in the last shell, how many electrons are left? It belongs to that group. Okay. Let's go check with this. Calcium 2 is there. Belongs to group 2. Okay. I'll just write group 6 belongs to group 3 belongs to group 6. I have written because what I told you, whatever is in the last shell, it belongs to that group, right? So it belongs to second group. Is it correct? Calcium belongs to second group? Yes, calcium belongs to second group. Sulfur 6. Does sulfur belongs to sixth group here? Just now I told we don't study between 3 to 12, then where did sixth group come? Then where did aluminium belongs to third group? No, aluminium does not come here. Aluminium comes in which group? 13th group. Sulfur comes in 16th group. Oxygen comes also in 16th group. That means any number of electrons beyond second. See here, last valence shell if you have 1 or last valence shell it has 2, it belongs to the respective groups. Respective groups means first group, second group. Last valence electron, whatever is the electrons left in the last shell. That is number will tell you which group. Beyond 2 if you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it has 8, it has. You have to add 10 to it. 16th group. Sulfur belongs to 16th group. Where is sulfur? It's here. Yes, it belongs to 16th group. It comes here, right? 16th group. Aluminium belongs to 13th group. Aluminium belongs to 13th group. Oxygen also belongs to 16th group. Did you understand? Anything beyond 3, 4, 5, so on, add 10 to the respective numbers, it belongs to that group. Very clear? This is how we find the group. So tomorrow in exam if I ask you potassium where it belongs to, last valence electrons is what? Last valence electron in the potassium will be 1. So potassium belongs to first group. Next, let's understand about the pyrrids. Which pyrrid does it belong? Now to understand which pyrrid does it belongs, we have to count number of shells. Hydrogen how many shell? 1 shell. Belongs to first pyrrid. Lithium how many shells? 2 shells. Belongs to second pyrrid. Sodium how many shells? 3 shells. Count here. 1, 2, 3. Shell is this children here. So when you draw sodium, right? You mark here, right? Those many shells I am talking about. Belongs to third pyrrid. Is that so? Please check if you want. Hydrogen first. Lithium second. Correct. Then we have sodium third. Correct. Next, let us check. Calcium 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth pyrrid. Sulfur third pyrrid. Aluminium third pyrrid. Oxygen second pyrrid. Just check with that. Check with your respective periodic table. So, number of groups, what do we do? Last shell, how many electrons are there? 1 and 2, respective 1 and 2 group. Beyond 2 you have, add 10 to it, respective group. How do we identify the pyrrids? Count the number of shells, those many number of pyrrids it will belong. Now comes to identify which block they are. Blocks will depend upon group children. All first and second group elements belongs to S block. Blocks will depend upon which group they belong. All first and second belong to S block. Then S block. Then 16th, 13th, 17th belongs to P block. Over. Your work is simple. D and F block we are not going to touch at all here. Right? So, this is one important concept what you have to study. The next thing what we understand here is how many elements are there in the each, how many elements are present in the each pyrrid. Let us understand that. Which is the lowest pyrrid and which is the highest pyrrid. So if I write with respect to pyrrids here, first period, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Only 7 periods are there, right? So in the first period, how many elements are there, children? Hydrogen and helium, 2 are there. Second period, how many are there? Count if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Third period, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fourth period, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Fifth period, how many are there? Same, 18. Sixth period, how many are there? There are 18 plus here there are 14 more elements. Again for 7th there are 14 more elements. Count them, 32 and 32. Right? They still say that, children, 7th group is 7th period is incomplete. I mean, you can still fill some more there or later or the discovery part, but this is what the configuration, what you should know. The question can be asked, which period has the lowest element? First period has the lowest elements, least number of elements. Which period has the maximum number of elements? 6th and 7th. Has the maximum number of elements. The second most important question what they ask usually is, why La and AC are separated in the periodic table? They are separated because they have more horizontal similarity than vertical similarity. You have those answers given, right? So this is some basic information what you all have to know. The last part to understand in this periodic table is, I can say, properties of periods and group. What happens to the elements as we go down the group and as we go across the period? How does the element property changes? What happens to its atomic size? What happens to its atomic radius, electron affinity? What about their shells? Do they increase, decrease? About the basic property or their metallic property, non-metallic property? What will happen to these elements as we go down the group and across the period? Let us understand, and that's the very most important thing. Many give reasons are asked on this. Let's understand that. So, let us understand some significance of these elements when they go down the group and when they go across the period. So down the group, here I have chosen group 1 elements. Why group 1? Just a random group 1 elements I have chosen. You can as well choose group 2, group 3 of course you cannot, or the further groups there. For example, we have chosen group 1 elements now. Now see, random elements I have chosen like hydrogen, lithium, sodium and potassium. Okay. Electronic configuration when you write, so this is 1. So this will be 2, 1. This will be 2, 8, 1. This will be 2, 8, 8, 1. Right? We all know how to form this. Now, based on this configuration, let us understand few terms. All these terms what I have written here can be asked for give reasons. Let's understand how it actually occurs in this. What are the things I have written here? Number of shells, atomic size or atom size. Atom size is sometimes known as atom radius also. Valence electrons, ionization potential, electron affinity, electronegativity, metallic character, basic oxides and non-metallic character or acidic oxides. How do these will vary? We have to know. So as we go in the elements down the group, this is effective with respect to group 1, group 2, group 13 onwards children, because up to 12 they are transition elements. We are not going to touch that. Properties are completely different. Okay. So as we go down the group, what will happen? What will happen to number of shells? You tell me. I have written the answer of course, but you see and tell me what will happen to number of shells. One shell, 2 shells, 3 shells. Number of shells increases as you go down the group, right? Okay. What is atomic size? What will happen to the atomic size? Atomic size is something where the electrons are placed. How easy it is for the nucleus to capture those electrons, I can say, or how easy it is for the electrons to come down to its main thing here, right? That we have to check here. So, atom size increases I have given. Why? Because, now see, it is very easy for this electron to get, the nucleus to capture this. Here, again yes, but here we always look for the last shell, children. How it is done. Now in the last shell, from here to here, it requires more energy, to capture that, not energy in the sense, the size. As we go down, the size increases, electron starts moving far away from the nucleus. Am I right? From here, electron is very far from the nucleus. So what is happening as we go down the group? The atom size increases because electrons are moving far away from the nucleus here. We are not talking about these shells. Valence, last shell electrons we are talking about. They are moving far because the size increases. So as we go down the group, atom size increases. Valence electrons. Group number 1, what are the valence electrons? 1. Group number 2, what are the valence electrons? 2. So what will happen to valence electrons? Group 1, valence electron is plus 1. So valence electron remains the same. Ionization potential. Ionization potential, it is the energy of an atom here to pull the electrons to itself, or the energy released by the element or the atom, so that it can capture or it can pull the electron towards itself. So electron affinity of course decreases. Again the same thing I can correlate. Atom size is increasing, children. Electrons are moving far away. If electrons are moving far away, affinity or tendency to pull those electrons towards themselves decreases, right? Gradually as you go down, that potential energy, see, you require a bit less. Here you require more energy. You can't spend that much of energy. So it actually, ionization potential decreases. All these are given in the notes, in points. You can just go through them. Electron affinity decreases. Affinity, again the same thing, to attract. Now, when we talk about potential, potential is something to release energy, right? Now, electron affinity is attraction towards the electron also decreases because there is no potential only, there is not much energy only to reach till there. See, if you now during the lockdown, we had to go meet our friends, right? But we couldn't go because since they are staying far away, if they were just your neighbors, you could just go say hi, hello and come to them, right? But since here you have to travel so far, same thing what will happen? Electrons are so far, it can't go to capture those electrons. Electron affinity, attraction towards this decreases as you go down the group because atom size is increasing. As atom size is increasing, potential to release, it will release very less amount of energy. Electronegativity decreases. Electronegativity means what, children? Again, the electrons. All are with respect to electrons. It all depends upon one after the other. Now, electronegativity, when we talk about tendency of these electrons to repel among each other. Now, electrons are negatively charged. So, here electronegativity, when we talk about, as and when the metallic character increases, we can say that electronegativity decreases. Metallic character increases. What do you mean by metallic character? You can understand this very much better. Metallic character is, what is a metal? Metals have tendency to what? Accept electrons or donate electrons. Metals have a tendency to donate electrons, right? See, when we talk about sodium chloride, so sodium can give one electron to chlorine, right? See, where is it? 281. Chlorine is what? 287. Sodium is giving one electron to chlorine. That is why chlorine is becoming electronegative. Chlorine is accepting electrons. Anything which accepts the electron is negatively. So more number of electrons are there. This losing an electron, electronegativity decreases. Understood why now? It has a tendency to lose electron because it gains a metallic character. Now as you go down the group, of course, hydrogen I don't want to talk about because hydrogen being a non-metal, it is placed in the group 1. Now when we talk about lithium, sodium, potassium, as we go down the group, the metallic character increases. So electronegativity has to decrease because electrons are going from that. So electrons are not remaining only. So electronegativity decreases, metallic character increases. Basic oxide increases. We all know that all metallic oxides are basic in nature. Where did we study this? Metals and non-metals, acid, bases and salt. All metallic oxides are basic in nature. All non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. So if metallic character increases, of course, basic oxide also increases. So if basic oxide increases, children, non-metallic character and acidic oxide definitely has to decrease, right? So if you understand, see, number of shells, atom size and valence electrons are completely different now. From ionization potential, if you start thinking, from ionization potential to this part, all are interrelated, right? So if you understand this tabular part if you understand this tabular part, it is easy for you to answer any give reasons given in this form. So this is down the group. Now let us take any one period and across the period, let us see what is the significance with respect to shell size, electrons, its potential and so on. So now across the period, what I have done here is now I have chosen sodium, magnesium, aluminium, which actually comes in the third period. Just random third period I have chosen. Few random elements I have written here with its configuration, children. Same thing I have written again here. Let's understand number of shells. It has to be the same because it belongs to third period. What does period indicates? Number of shells indicates the periods. So shells are 3. So periods has to mean period is 3. So shell has to be 3, right? Atom size. So atom size decreases here. But you might ask me that why atom size decreases since it has only 3 shells throughout. Throughout it has 3 shells, yes, but it also depends upon number of electrons in the last shell, right? So atom size decreases. Valence electron increase. Now just see here, I cannot say it exactly increases, but I have skipped 1 or 2. But if you see that in group 3, for example, now next silicon phosphorus, if I take here, atom size initially increases. Valence electron 1, 2, 3 initially increases. I have not written phosphorus here. For example, phosphorus atomic number is 15, right? So 2, 8. So here what you get? So you get here as 7 will be the last one, not 7 children, 5. Okay, so you get 5 here. Now after 5, of course 4. Take some more elements and check. What will happen here is atom size actually, valence electron, initially you feel that it increases. Check here. This belongs to valency is 1, valency is 2. Then comes here, valency is 5. No, we don't talk about valency. It is 5 there. Atom number is 5. But again, we minus number of combining capacity of an electron is actually judged. So it initially increases, then again decreases because it comes to 0. Finally, it comes to 0 here. 18th group element, the valence electrons, if I talk about, it is 0. So that is how it goes here. I have written increases, but it increases later again decreases. Ionization potential increases. Now you already know what is ionization potential. So it is the tendency to release electrons, right? I mean energy what is released to capture those electrons. Since there are only 3 shells, easily it can take. So ionization potential increases. Electron affinity, tendency to attract electrons. Easy, na? 3 shells only. It can attract, increases. Electronegativity increases. Why? Non-metals have a tendency to receive electrons. So electronegativity increases. If electronegativity increases, metallic character decreases. If metallic character decreases, nature of basic oxide also decreases. What will increase? Non-metallic character increase, that is acidic oxide increases. Non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. So as we go across the periods, initially you have metals here, like initially you have sodium, you have magnesium, aluminium, then silicon is a semiconductor. Then comes gases, non-metal, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon. So from metal to non-metal you have, okay. So in group what will happen? They are metals but metallic character increases as you come down. They remain metal only except hydrogen. So in period what will happen? Initially they are metals but as you go, we always read from left to right, children. Remember that. In the period, when you go from left to right, slowly the metallic character decreases, non-metallic characters increases, right? So these are the significance of groups and period in the periodic table. Go through the notes, I have given them in points, the whole thing once again. So any doubt you can call and ask me. So with this, children, we complete the chapter periodic classification of elements.